Alright, man, I'm back, bro. So, in that last video that I made, the documentary about my hometown of Lexington, Mississippi, I told you that a lady named Hazel Brandon Smith, whom was a owner of several newspaper and editorials in my hometown. Hazel Brandon Smith. She was a white lady from an upper class family out of Chicago, I think. I'm not sure. But anyways, she was quite significant because during the time of civil rights and all this Jim Crow stuff and all this, she was one of the few people that actually spoke up for the black people. So I wanted to read a piece that she did on my great-grandfather, whom was killed by Lexington police in 1963. His name is Alfred Brown. So I'm just going to start at the top and read. The title of the article, editorial, was "This Female Crusading Scalawag." And it was written by Hazel Brandon Smith. And it says Justice and Peace. And Justice in Mississippi. I'm sorry. Alright. I don't know if this was revised or whatever by a person named Bernard L. Stein, but he's mentioned in the article as well. Alright, let's begin. On a hot June night in 1963, Alfred Brown lay on the sidewalk in front of the Honky Tonks on Yazoo Street in the small Mississippi farm town of Lexington, Mississippi, bleeding his life away. At a time when headlines and telecasts blazed with stories of confrontations between Southern blacks and police, his death went unremarked, except by the tiny... Hold on, let me zoom in. Except by the tiny weeklies responsible for keeping the residents of rural Holmes County abreast of the news. It goes on to say, Alfred Brown, Negro, was killed in an altercation with Lexington police on Yazoo Street Saturday night, reported the Holmes County Herald in a terse, I don't know if they say tense or terse, in a terse 3-paragraph story. Patrolman W.R. McNair shot Brown in the chest as he advanced on him with a knife, Police Chief George Musselwhite said. Lexington's leading newspaper told the story quite differently. Alfred Brown, a Negro naval veteran of World War II and father of 5 children, was shot to death in Lexington Saturday night, the Lexington Advertiser's story began. The Advertiser's long and circumstantial account made it clear that the dead man, a mental patient who still wore the bracelet of the hospital from which he had been released, was a victim of racist police. They pursued him down the street, accusing him of being drunk, shot him when he pulled out his pocket knife, then stood over him, guns drawn, to prevent his relatives and others who had gathered at the scene from going to his aid. That the 2 stories appeared to arrive from different universes was no surprise. By 1963, the Advertiser's editor and publisher Hazel Brandon Smith had become notorious, driving the racist powers that be of the region to flights of apoplexy. Okay. As State Representative Wilburn Hooker of Holmes County told the director of the State Sovereignty Commission, the state agency established to spy on civil rights organizations, she was this female crusading scalawag domiciled in our midst. Holmes County, population 27,000, was desperately poor, but competing newspapers served it because Hazel Brandon Smith was a member of a small band of Southern journalists who supported the black movement for civil rights. The rival Holmes County Herald was founded by the segregationist White Citizens Council in 1960 to drive her out of business. Wow. The Citizens Council used the Herald to back up an advertising boycott of Mrs. Smith's two Holmes County weeklies, The Advertiser and the Durant News, which served the smaller city 12 miles east of Lexington. Hazel Brannon Smith endured more than 20 years of violence, ostracism, and economic strangulation in the name, she said, of telling the people the truth and defending their freedom. In return for her suffering, she won the Pulitzer Prize for editorial writing in 1964. And that's all I got on that. But I'm assuming that the rest of the story just goes on to tell about Mrs. Smith. But my auntie sent me this, man, about her father, which is my great-grandfather. And I just thought that I would, give him some light, a story that's never heard before. And, seeing all this stuff on TV about George Floyd and Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and, all these different type of things about people being killed by police, man, police brutality and all this stuff. When you read a story like this about one of your family members that was also killed by police and you don't exactly know the specifics of it, it's just he say, she say. One person says it might have happened this way. Another person says it might have happened this way. It's just kind of like it leaves a mystery or a bitterness and a unsettling feeling in your psyche, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I ride through town, it'd be like, damn, Yazoo Street, that's the main street. So you have to ride by it like, damn, that's where my great-grandfather was killed by an establishment that's still in town right now. You know what I'm saying? And, like, it's never been spoken about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I hadn't got this article from my auntie, I wouldn't even known my family history about this, bro. Because, when people die, it's so painful or, it brings back so many bad memories that your family usually don't want to talk about what happened. But, passing on history is a very significant part of remembering and, us knowing our history and our lineage's history, man. Like, you have to talk to these kids, man, let them know what they come from. Because they'll be walking into a room full of snakes and don't even know what's around them, Jew, because don't nobody want to talk about shit. As bad as it is, we got to talk about some stuff, bro. Can't just sweep everything under the rug. So, man, R.I.P. to my great-grandfather, Alfred Brown, bro. You got your shine, man. I ain't got nothing but 1,000 subscribers, but I gave you light to 1,000 people. Yep. All right, peace, man. One time for Lexington.